Hello, interwebs. All right, she's maybe do yoga again. Yoga of the 90s. Why? Yoga of the 90s for the 90s, basically. So I feel now 90 years old. It's like, oh, I'm so stretchy in a kind of a broken snap, crackle, pop way. I feel like those articulating arms that when they go too far, they make that. That's what I felt like the entire yoga today. I can't talk for long because I've got a friend coming to chat. We're going to go outside in the glorious almost sunshine. Look at it out there. It looks, fairly reasonably not horrible. So yes, we're going to go out and have a cup of coffee and do a little chatting. Good morning, Kameraden. Good morning, Tyler. Good morning, Lindsay, Harvester, Maker Viking, Cinnabon Bunny. I love that name. And what else we got? Crazy Nut Denmark, Kenny Ken, World Builder and Dog. It has been forever. For you, maybe. For me, it's every freaking day, these damn exercises. I can't get away from it. So there's an outside still. Yeah, I know. Wow, no snow outside. No, there's still, there's ice. Can you see? I don't know if you can see what's going on here. I'll open it up. We've still got some sort of ice and a little bit of ice and stuff. But there's like birds singing and crap. It's like freaking spring. This is what they do. This is what Toronto does to you. They go, "Oh, what a glorious spring day! Isn't it lovely and warm and delicious?" And then it goes whack and hits you with another freaking snowstorm. So just so you know, no escape. Did I tell you I did some stunt work? I also start my job at CW. Oh, fantastic! That's great. The CW. That is some cool hip stuff right there. I had a friend who did a show for them. Andrew, who I'd like to get to come and talk about writing. He worked for, he was basically show running the Secret Circle there for a while. He loved those folks. What do we got? Here on PEI, we have like 20 centimeters of snow. Woohoo! Powder Puff Girls. Yee-hee! I don't know what that was. Congrats. What am I congrats on? Congrats on the fact that I actually freaking finished, or no, that's congrats to the job, probably. Jonathan Leighton Hoggett, how are you, sir? I have for you, Jonathan, check this out. So I went, when I did my run for supplies for, I didn't do a run, I actually just did an order. When I ordered supplies for the kitchen, I also ordered some 3/4 inch ply, which will be used as the base on that CNC, that magnificent CNC that Jonathan very, very, very kindly donated to the Tech Bandits. So, and it's getting almost like it may be warm enough to get out in the garage for a bit. I'm thinking maybe time to build a CNC, don't you think? G'day, Finn. How are you? Shan, your shirt looks like the Castlemaine Beer Man logo thingy. You know what it is? It's from Berlin. It's Ampelman, who tells you to stop or go. That's the Jane's gifts from Berlin when she goes to. She's missing the Berlin Film Festival right now, or she's watching it online or something. I don't know. Candy Medusa, how are you, Candy Medusa? Candy Medusa, who I was tweeting with this morning because she's got pigs and dogs living together with sweaters. So you should go follow her on Twitter because she's got some fun stuff going on. I am born in the 90s. Oh, then Lee Steele, you are dead to me. Frankly, if you were born in the 90s, what are you like? You're like 4 years old then. The 90s, God, it feels like only yesterday, but it's like just a long time ago now. I don't even want to do the math. But yes, so I did yoga of the 90s. So basically what you do is they play cool, or maybe I should say old guy music. And then you sort of flail around. I have become horribly vocal in my yoga. There's an awful lot of like I sound like the ghost in Hamlet whenever I'm doing yoga right now. And this 90s one was great. I love this guy because he's very clear. I need very clear instructions as if speaking to a child. You raise your other left leg. So they're not live. They're pre-recorded. But I basically just copy what Jane's doing. But make a lot more noise doing it and complain a lot about it. And whenever he says think about, what's happening, think about what's happening in your brain right now. I'm like, brain is on fire with pain. I don't get any of the Zen crap out of this, but 90s as in the age group it is targeting. No, it's that. Well, that's what it became. It became like they were targeting a 90-year-old man trying to do yoga. Absolutely. God, my back is so bad. But it was actually just 90s music. But as I say, it was 90s, made me feel 90. I'm sure Jane is feeding off your pain every yoga day. I think, Jane, do you find my pain and misery an inspiration to you? Yes. She doesn't even listen anymore. She just answers. She's just like so over living with me. What was that? A very loose definition of the word inspiration. As I say to Jane, Jane's marriage to me is all about Jane just lowering expectations. I think just every day, just like, you know what? Maybe I only need this. You know what I mean? So I grew up in the 80s and 90s, good times. I know. Man, they were good hair days for me. Well, actually, they're ridiculous hair days, but I had a lot of hair. If only I'd known how to use it. If only I'd used my hair for good. Talk about a wraith. Zen is not crap. Zen is truth. Yeah, I'm sure it is for some people, SRC22, but for me, I haven't found Zen yet. I've only found pain. I've only found pain and more reasons to whine and complain. That's basically, and it even rhymes. Now, I'm meeting a friend. As I say here, he's going to come by, so I will have to rush off and shower and stuff, so I cannot talk for long. Please don't let me talk for long. Let's talk for 15 minutes, maybe. Keep it at 15? Yeah, let's get to 15 minutes, and then please kick me off, me and my squirreling off. Had an amazing chat yesterday with a fellow nerd, a fellow ADHDer. I don't know whether he wants me to share his name or not, so maybe I won't. But who sort of bridges the gap between the biological sciences and high performance computing. What are they called? Supercomputers, basically. Just but again, and his I think his PhD, I believe, is basically the brain. He's a molecular biology, and I think with a specialty in brain something or another. Anyways, as always, it's harder for me to figure out what these various different accreditations mean. But just a fascinating chat, because he's also on this COVID task force. So got to sort of have him walk me through some of the vaccine processes, which is just really cool. I have a very loose understanding of some of it, but it's really nice to be able to sort of converse with someone about it and go like, oh, I know that's a ribosome, that kind of stuff. So in fact, I really think if James Gurney's on here, James, you should talk. Oh, there you are, Jim. Jim the Evo, you should talk to this guy. I'll put you in touch with him, because he's got a really cool sounding company that I feel like you would fit so it's like your world, because it's, they're doing data, they're doing computers, and they're doing biological sciences. And I know you've already got a job and much more important things to do, but I just think you should talk to him, because I was really impressed with him, and I felt that a lot of the sort of the points of information that he was interested in are things that reminded me very much of Jim the Evo. By the way, everyone, go follow Jim the Evo. Go follow him on YouTube or on Twitch. He is James R. Gurney on Twitch, and Twitter. What are you on Twitter? You James R. Gurney on Twitter as well. I think Jim. I think you'd really like him. He's just very smart, very down to earth, and just obviously very passionate about this stuff too. It reminded me very much of you talking about viruses back in the university days. And from then on. But he's got this company, which is just a really kind of interesting combination of stuff. It really speaks to the idea of not siloing our education, like not just going into I can't remember exactly what it was. The neuros. I mean, he's basically microbiology. And is micro? I guess it's what was it? Molecular biology and neuroscience, basically. I guess would be his specialty. But I'm sure I'll let him speak to that. Again, I just don't know whether he wants to be sort of shouted out like this. But just a great chat, a really great chat. And it's just one of those wonderful things about being an actor. And not even being an actor, I think it's being involved in the Stargate stuff that just allows me to get to talk to people who are just doing some really cool stuff. And he's based in Texas, which I then hear, oh my God, I hear Texas is like opening up everything and removing mask mandates. And I'm just like, oh my God, really? I'm really worried they're going to undo the good. I mean, they've done such a wonderful job with the vaccinations. They're just plowing through these vaccinations. Ontario still sucks. Just want to say, Canada, Ontario, you suck at this. We've had so much warning, and I cannot believe that my dad has not got a freaking vaccination or an appointment, or even knows when an appointment will be available for him. So, they're talking about, well, we've decided to wait until the portal is up and running before we start vaccinating our over 80s. I'm like, what? It's more important to have the freaking bureaucracy down than it is to freaking save lives, you morons. This is politicians. This is government crap. It drives me freaking nuts. These delays are killing people, and God help them if they kill my father and my stepmom in the process, because I will rain a Twitter storm of hell on them. Like, what am I going to do? It's pathetic. Come on, guys, Anyway, so people of Texas, I would say that's fantastic. You've got the freedom to act like idiots if you want to. I would say maybe don't. Why don't you wear a mask anyways? Show your freedom to wear a mask. Show your freedom to do whatever you want by helping other people and looking out for other people by covering your freaking face and not accepting groups of 250 people or whatever the hell they're allowed to do now. It just seems ridiculous to me. Anyways, this is politics. This is economics. This is the people with the least access to the medical resources they need, and the least access to money, and of the least interest to the political machines that run our countries, whether it's Canada, America, England, whatever the hell it is. Those are the people who are going to suffer with this stuff, and it drives me freaking nuts. Jane and I were saying, we're American. Should we be going back down to the States so that we can get vaccinated? I hate thinking like that. You know what I mean? It's but this ridiculousness of again, I really don't, I'm not going to rush and get a vaccine or to try to figure out how I can weasel myself a vaccine because I don't want to. I don't think it's the way to do it. I think it should work by age all the way down. And right now we're we've got to make sure we cover these groups and these groups and those groups, and how are we what's the fairest way to do this? And we need to put a 4-month gap. Jim, I'm curious to know what your thoughts of this. They're saying that they're now gonna wait 4 months between the first and the second jab, which to me seems like we're at 65%. We're basically at 65% then protection for that period of time, right? And I say we, I mean my father and because Jane and I are not gonna get vaccinated until September. I guarantee you, the way it's going right now, unless they come up with something which I'm not entirely in agreement with. And people are now talking about well, how do we vaccinate casts so that they can then be insured properly, so that we can then go about our film business and it not be at risk of losing vast amounts of money. I'm a little worried about that, unless it takes the onus off the government system. If that's going to take some of the logistical nightmare away from the public system, then people get very angry with me when I say that I'm a fan of a private system as well. I think there should be both. I think we should look after our population. I also think there should be a private medical facilities and medical resources available as well for people who can afford it, because they're doing it anyways. The reality is, if you want private healthcare, you just get on a freaking helicopter and fly to Buffalo, or you can, there is a 2-tier system here. It's called Canadian and American. And those of us who can afford go to the freaking States and get their healthcare sorted. That's the 2-tier system that they've been trying to avoid by making it illegal to have private healthcare in Canada. And it's freaking stupid, because that money could be here. That money could be funding research. That money could be funding vaccinations. No, it's not fair. It's not fair. It's absolutely not fair. Why should people who has more money have better access to healthcare than people who don't? But I don't believe that we should all have access to shitty healthcare that's slow and that's being, and the bureaucrats, fiddle around with websites while people are freaking dying. So there you go. There's my little rant for the day. Have I done 15 minutes yet? Oh God, I'm almost there. David, how was it filming the shuttle pod sinking episode with the hallucinated Amanda tapping? Was she comfortable with these sexual innuendos? I don't know what you're talking about, Jocelyn. There was no sexual innuendo. There was just raw passion between the two of us. I think that was what it was. She was breastfeeding at the time. She was literally at the point, she had to keep running off to go and feed the baby and stuff. And then Jane would hop in the water and do the off-camera stuff with me. And it was kind of wonderful. So if there's any sexual tension there, I'd say it was probably between me and young Jane. It's because Jane was, getting to work with her idol, her filmic, working with the, with that, the handsome actor that she always wanted to be with. So that's probably where the tension was. No, Amanda was lovely. Amanda and I, just get along really well. I mean, she's wonderful on set. I would say Amanda and everyone gets along really well, but she's a very sort of giving, understanding. And I think as long as in those kind of situations, I just think you have to be very clear with communications as to what you're going to do. I'm not a big believer in the idea of like, look, let's go grab her butt. And then that'll really get a great reaction on camera. And that'll do not going to happen, because the reality is that's still sexual assault. That's still unwanted, touching or whatever. There's I've worked with a number of people, generally older, white, straight guys, who believe that they need to trick actors into the reactions that they want on film. And certainly nowadays, there's no way that should be happening now. In fact, they even have people now called intimacy coordinators, intimacy something or another, I don't know, who come, who come to set and are there to walk the actors through, making sure the actors are protected as to what's being seen, what's not being seen, how the set is being set up and stuff. Smart idea. I mean, it's a gentrification of our industry that is, I think, very frustrating to some of the older folks. Sometimes for myself as well. Bureaucracy always just it can be very frustrating, and it's very hard to sort of put check boxes beside things like how a set works. But no, Amanda is absolutely fabulous, and she's, again, I think as long as everyone involved is consenting and agreed to what is going to happen in the scene, and that they understand that this is the scene, this is not me taking liberties that I shouldn't have or whatever. So I'm always very, I've always been a massive coward. So it's not like I don't generally push my luck with these things anyways, both in life or in art. But I also just think it's a much better product. I mean, you can get much better scenes from people if there's a comfort there. Or on the other extreme, I would go if there's a discomfort there. If you don't like each other, I've worked with people who I absolutely hate, and people go like, oh my God, the chemistry there, you guys are fantastic together, you should work all the time. I'm like, we hated each other. Or they hated me. It's usually, it's probably more like that. The camera just picks up that stuff. I don't know what it is about the camera that just crackles. It's amazing. I've always joked that the hardest films to shoot are the best films to watch, until I actually made a few films and realized that they're just not any fun to watch either. Some of them. But anyways, not the looser kind. Hated with a passion. Yes, hated with a passion. There you go. What was the filming of The Cube like? Oh my God, that was both wonderful and terrible, because it was my friend's first film, it was Vincenzo's first film. And, he really had a lot of obstacles there towards getting that film made. And so I really sort of felt like my job and Andrew's job, and Andre, who worked on the script with him, they co-wrote that film. I felt like we were there to just make this happen for him. So we just did everything we could, basically, to help him make that film. Not that he needed much help. I mean, he's freaking brilliant. But just, things like, I joke about, I have a check for $0. I have a check for nothing for Cube, because we put the money that we would have earned back into the production. So, but it has to go through the unions. Otherwise, that would be working, non-union, basically. I'd be like, if you don't pay me, then, the union gets mad. So the union doesn't get mad, it turns out, if you send them a check for their portion of the money you would have made. So basically, the production pays them this little portion, gets their chunk of flesh basically, and then they don't give a crap what you get paid after that. So basically, Andrew and I got zero. We got checks for $0. The union got their stuff, and then but it just allowed the film to happen. I mean, we just this was. This was back in the days when it was really film, and things were expensive, and we had 1.5 cubes or about 1.5 cubes to work with, and very, very hot lights because they weren't LEDs. So it's like sitting in an easy bake oven. It was very, very unpleasant, but at the same time, very pleasant because, again, it was like one of my best and oldest friends who we'd been making films together since we were like 13, and this was his big feature film, and I was just, oh God, it was so freaking great. When it took off, we were like, oh my God, this is it. Now he's working with, was it Chris Nolan's, I think is it Chris Nolan's brother or something? He's got like a series going in London, and he's just really talented and absolutely lovely, lovely guy. So yeah, I can't think anything better. Nice mug, it is, isn't it, Doctor Who? Oh my God, it's 20 minutes, I gotta go. I gotta go see my friend. I think Tech Bandits today, I think I'm on for that. I think I can do that. I mean, it depends what comes up. But I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be online this afternoon. Maybe if I can, I'll pop on a little early so we can actually have a chat, because I feel like we haven't chatted with the Twitch folks for ages. So until we geek again, I will say be safe, be kind, be brilliant, wear a mask. It's just so freaking easy. And it's not protecting, you, it's protecting other people. And then you look like a freaking hero. So just wear a mask. And do the distance thing too. Why not? I'm going to go have coffee. He's going to be over there. I'm going to be over here. It's going to be great. Until we geek again, I will say, what do I say? Cheerio and huzzah! See y'all. Thank you much. Bye.